All right, man, let's go ahead and get into it. You see the title of the video. I just want to go ahead and get into it because this always be like a lifelong tour discussion or a lifelong NBA discussion in general because um, folks' definition of the term bust is like very different for each person because folks like would consider like someone that don't live up to expectations are automatic bust to them. And I just cannot agree with that because if a player is like a key contributor on a championship team, I do not consider them a bust whatsoever. If a player that's a top 20 to 25 player in the game is, still balling and he's like a number two option on like one of the best teams in the NBA currently right now, and he's been like playing at this level for like since he's been healthy for like multiple years, I do not consider that player a bust either. And I'm about to explain to you why I do not consider like certain players a bust because every circumstance is very different, and we're about to go ahead and get into it right now, bro. So let's go ahead and get into it because the reason why I'm making this video right here is because I saw like a Twitter thread, right? Folks were going back and forth, and I saw somebody call Karl Anthony Towns a bust, and I'm like, how in the world did you come up with that conclusion? Now, you do have folks that are trolls that will call anybody a bust as soon as they come in the league and just don't perform right away. Those are trolls. But when folks actually try to give pushback on folks, calling Karl Anthony Towns a bust, he's a bust? Like, no. Karl Anthony Towns right now currently is a top 20, 25 player in the game. He's one of the best shooting bigs in the game today. He's one of the greatest shooting bigs of all time. I just don't get how a man that keep like he's really getting better and better each year. Like I'm seeing him attempt more one-legged mid-post fades than I ever saw him take in his career. His passing has gotten better. Now he's still kind of weak of backing folks down and stuff like that. But his post game, besides actually like bullying folks, like that's not gonna be there. But his like finesse around the rim and stuff like that, that's always gonna be there because he's so agile and quick. That's why they put him at the power forward position to exploit mismatches. And yeah, I just can't agree with the folks that's calling Karl Anthony Towns a bust. Multiple time All-Star. Then folks try to gaslight this person and saying, "Oh, Andre Drummond made the All-Star team and he made the All-NBA team." First off, comparing Andre Drummond and Karl Anthony Towns is very insane to me because I don't think at no point folks consider Andre Drummond a top 20 player in the game. Now, if you want to say Karl Anthony Towns didn't live up to expectations, now that's a whole different story. Like folks were saying they'd rather have him over AD in like certain discussions. Like for example, the NBA Tour poll, the GMs was polled on like which player what they want to build around. Folks was picking Karl Anthony Towns. Now, if you want to say he didn't live up to those expectations, okay, you may have something there, but even with those expectations set upon him, I would think he would still like be considered like underachiever, as you could say. Now, a guy like Giannis, now the reason why folks be trying to say Karl Anthony Towns is underachiever is because of how Giannis developed in the league. Giannis was like, what, the 13 or 14 pick in the draft? He was a raw prospect, then he got better to turn into an all-star, and then all-star turned into a star, then a star turned into like a multiple-time MVP, superstar level player, DPOY, then he became a champion. Now he's one of the top 3 best players in the game. Folks see that, and folks expected Karl Anthony Towns to have that same trajectory and progress. But the fact of the matter is, the underrated part of why Karl Anthony Towns is not at the top 10 and 15 is really ultimately come down to injury. Like, just look at his injury history. He would have a great year, okay. He would play like midway through, get hurt. Then folks would have start having these discussions. Is he better than this person? Is he better than that person? Then he balls out in 21, 22. This is where folks started getting agitated with Karl Anthony Towns because he self-proclaimed himself as the best shooting big of all time. Folks attacked him. Dirk even went on the one of the Mavs broadcasts and said, "Oh, you have to You have to win something to self-proclaim yourself like that. I just don't agree with that either. And yeah, and he was balling that year. He even reached his career high, 60 points that year. He didn't do nothing in the playoffs, and folks was just piling on. Then the next year, which was Cat and Gobert and Anthony Edwards' first year together, and they didn't do nothing because Carter Town ended up messing up his calf. He was set basically the whole year. He played a couple games, and yeah, he didn't look good in the playoffs once again. Folks start piling on once again on Carter Town. But with all this being said, he probably would never be a playoff performer. But I would still not consider him a bust because he's always going to be in the top 20 to 25 discussion of players. Maybe you can say he's a 30 best player because of how many players are coming into the league and becoming so much better as they age out in the league. But yeah, and let's talk about this another person real quick. That they folks consider him a bust a lot too, and that's Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, I do not know. I don't understand the bust label for him either. Like, his career has been going through a lot of changes. But I don't think anybody in his shoes would be like a multiple time All-Star or a multiple time All-NBA and stuff like that. Because he went through a change of being the guy. Then he went from being the guy to like a second, third role when Jimmy Butler came into the league. Then he went from that to being a point guard, which didn't work out too well because he was not a natural point guard because he wasn't used to running pick and roll. He wasn't setting up guys like that. Because he was mostly thinking of like a scorer. Then when you try to recalibrate somebody's mentality of a scorer, you try to make them like a playmaker, most of the time it's not gonna go out as well as you expect. Then he went from that to the Warriors, and folks thought, oh my God, is this like Wiggins' last stop in the league? Is Wiggins not gonna be a winning player? Does he need another change of scenery and stuff like that? Then, well, from that year to a year afterwards, when he became an all-star star, by the way, he was in contention to be an all-defensive team member, but I don't think he made it. And guess what? He walked up one of the best league players in the game, Jason Tatum. You can say he's the second best player on the entire team. And in that case, there's no way, shape, or form that Andrew Wiggins should be considered a bust. Now, what I agree with folks is he did not live up to expectations whatsoever because folks would call him Maple Jordan. Folks would call him the next LeBron. And I don't think he even scratched the surface of that. I think Carter Town had a better chance of scratching the surface of what the expectations were placed upon him. I believe he had like a brief period where he almost had that crown he was about to take and run with, but injuries happened. It's stuff derailed him. Andrew Wiggins, I don't think he had a chance because his role was always changing. He never really got embraced as the guy because Carter Towns was already there, so that was already hard enough. And then when Jimmy Butler got there, it just made things even harder. So that's why they feel like, okay, so after Jimmy leaves, we need somebody else to take charge and be the lead ball handler. They try to put him in that role, and he didn't look too good. That's why they ultimately shipped him out to Golden State. And then Golden State, he went through a lot of changes, but he ultimately found the role of being a role player. He just had 25 points last night. I'm glad he bounced back because now he's in another role where he have to come off the bench now. So yeah, it's been like a whole lot going through Andrew Wiggins' career. I'm glad he was able to contribute on a title team, because as soon as he did that, the buzz labels, for me at least, went out the window. Now, if you want to say a guy like Darko Milicic, you want to say a guy like Anthony Bennett, you want to say a guy like Candy or something like that, he got drafted by the Clippers. If you want to say guys like those are buzz, or you can say like a guy like, let me see, what's another guy? Nah, I can't think of right now. But yeah, if you want to consider those guys bust, go right ahead. Now, it's a couple players that are bust, and I just can't think of them right now. But the ones that are top of my head for sure is Darko, Anthony Bennett, and somebody else. I can't think of it. But yeah, those are the players I would consider a bust. And just flat out, they was given multiple chances. They did not succeed in no chances at all. Didn't even play more in no type of setting. Like, no, I just can't give you that grace period. Now, here's a couple players, in my opinion, that were drafted pretty high, and they just unfortunately didn't live up to their expectations or the draft stats because, outside circumstances. For example, a guy like DeJuan Wagner, he had he had a brief period where he was about to take over the league, but injuries it halted him bad. It derailed his career. Jabari Parker, for example, he was playing at all-star level until he tore his ACL twice. That was so crazy to me when he tore the ACL again. I was so disappointed for him because he was on the right path of being probably that second guy to Giannis. And yeah, for that to happen to him and the hard work he been putting in to even bounce back from the first ACL injury, it's so unfortunate. Then a guy like Greg Oden, for example, he really didn't get a fair shot. His knees didn't really give him a fair shot to survive in this league because he showed a brief period that he showed him being a fringe all-star. That you could probably say, oh, he only averaged 11 points. But dog, 24-15, he had a 16-6 performance. He had a 14-14 performance. And he had a 17-12 performance. He was showing flashes week in, week out. But the knee didn't hold up, and he didn't last. And I'm trying to see, when did Brandon Roy get drafted? Was he drafted pretty high? He was drafted pretty high. I would include him on the list. And with Grant Hill, too, I include him on the list. These guys are just, I would not consider them bust whatsoever because if you was hurt and you was not able to control the situation at hand, I can't consider you a bust at that point because if you showed all-star flashes, your body just couldn't hold up and you ended up fizzling out the league or having become a role player earlier than expected, there's no way I would consider you a bust. And I guess this is where I leave it off at. My definition of a bust could be considered different than yours. Yes. And I believe expectations is very different from being an actual bust. And hopefully this video can educate you on how I feel about bust and how I don't feel about bust. And yeah, let's go ahead and end this video. So yeah, if you guys like this video, comment, subscribe. This is your boy Terrell. I'm out.